Hello everyone, welcome to SJEC e-classes. Here learning is non-stop. If you're new to this channel, please do not forget to subscribe. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Today we are going to study The Selfish Giant, the lesson 1 of English reader of class 7th. Even if you don't belong to class 7th, you still can watch this video as the story told in this video is a very beautiful story about a selfish giant and how he changes himself and becomes a better person. So let's get started, and before we begin, this is the part 1 of the video, so please subscribe so that you can be updated about the next part. The Selfish Giant. It is a short story about a giant who used to live alone in his castle, which has a beautiful garden. He is selfish and dislikes children. But when spring refuses to visit his garden, he learns to appreciate children and grows to love them immensely. So, it is a very beautiful story about children and a giant who is very selfish in nature. He doesn't like children, he doesn't wants to help anyone. He just wants to keep everything to himself. He wants to live alone. He doesn't want company. So, in this story, we are going to see how that selfish giant has a change of heart. What changes his heart and how he becomes fond of children. This story is written by Oscar Wilde. He was a prolific Irish author who wrote a lot of plays, fiction, essays, epigrams, and poetry. He also wrote moral stories for children. The Selfish Giant was part of his collection, The Happy Prince and Other Tales, published in 1888. So, I hope you can understand this story. Let's get started. The Selfish Giant. Every afternoon, as they were coming from school, the children used to go and play in the giant's garden. It was a large, lovely garden with soft green grass. Here and there, over the grass stood beautiful flowers like stars, and there were 12 peach trees that in the springtime broke out into delicate blossom of pink and pearl, and in the autumn bore rich fruit. So, first of all, a description is given about the castle and the lovely garden it had. There were lots of soft grasses, and also beautiful flowers were spread all over there like stars. There were 12 peach trees total, and they bore fruits and flowers. So there were small children who used to go to play in that garden. As giant was not there, giant was not living in his castle, he has gone, and the people of the village thought that it was abandoned, so children used it as a playground and they played over there. The birds sat on the trees and sang so sweetly that the children used to stop their games to listen to them. How happy we are, they cried to each other. The children were really happy. The nature was also very happy. The birds were singing beautifully. The children used to stop their games and just listen to the beautiful song of the birds. They used to think that how happy we are, how beautiful is this moment, how happy we it makes us. They were enjoying themselves in that particular garden. They were very happy because the garden brought them a lot of happiness. The flowers, the birds, the trees, everything. One day, the giant came back to his castle. He had been to visit his friend, the Cornish ogre, and had stayed with him for 7 years. When he arrived, he saw the children playing in the garden. One fine day, what happened? The selfish giant, the giant to whom the castle belonged, he returned after 7 years. The children were playing as usual. When they used to return from their school, they used to enjoy in that playground. That is the lovely garden of the giant. But after 7 years, the giant returned from his friend. He returned back to his castle that was supposed to be abandoned, but now the selfish giant came back. And when he saw the children, he became very angry. He became very frustrated because he never liked children. He hated them. "What are you doing here?" He cried in a very gruff voice, and the children ran away. As soon as the selfish giant saw the children playing in his garden, he became very angry. He became agitated and he shouted in a very gruff voice that what are you doing here? Because he disliked children. He didn't wanted to see them around. So he was very angry and he ordered them, what are you doing here? And he asked them to leave at that very moment. My own garden is my own garden, said the giant. I will allow nobody to play in it but myself. So he built a high wall all round it and put up a notice board. Now the giant became very angry after seeing those children playing in his garden. So he said that this is my own garden, only I am allowed to play here. Nobody else is allowed to come inside this campus or this particular garden and play over here. This is mine and only I can play here. So he became so angry, he thought of a plan. He made a huge wall around the castle, around the garden, so that nobody could enter into his garden and nobody would be able to play over there. And out of his anger, he also built up the huge wall, as well as he put up a notice board which said, trespassers will be prosecuted. That means that if anyone enters the garden without his permission, they will be prosecuted. He was a selfish giant. The poor children had nowhere to play. They tried to play on the road, but the road was very dusty and full of hard stones, and they did not like it. They used to wander round the high wall when their lessons were over and talk about the beautiful garden inside. How happy we were there, they said to each other. Now, what has happened? The giant has returned back to his castle. He has made a huge wall around his lovely garden and did not allow anyone to enter it. He made a huge wall. Now, the children were unable to get inside, they were not allowed to play in there. So, they had to play on the roads, which were full of dust as well as hard stone. They did not like, because they used to play in that lovely garden where it was covered with soft grasses, full of trees, full of flowers. But now they had no option. They had to play on that road that was dusty, full of hard stones. It was dangerous too, and they did not like playing over there. So when they used to remember that beautiful times, when they used to remember that how happy they were inside that lovely garden, they used to go around the wall, wander around the wall after their classes were over. They used to think about the beautiful garden, and they used to talk to each other that once upon a time they were very happy, but now they are not even allowed to get inside. So, this is it for this video. If you want to continue the lesson, please watch the next part of the video. Thank you.